She's stuck. Hey everybody, Paul from the Vitamin House. I'm in Alpha, New Jersey again. First off, I want to say thank you to everybody that reached out to us through private messages to tell us about the videos. I know the live is just kind of new to us. The first video, the quality wasn't that great. In the second video, we had internet upload problems and it was very choppy. I left it on there anyway because it wasn't that bad, but if you missed anything from the second video because of the choppiness, just give us either give us a call or just send us a message and I'll tell you what it was. We had a few people ask about dosing. Still, there's a lot of confusion about dosing to give it to pets, not just for pets, but for people too. The dosing is kind of all over the place, and when you read the label, sometimes it's hard to figure out. So, for instance, just keep in mind that the dosing, normally, the milligrams on the front of the bottle is the milligrams in the entire bottle. So if it says 300 milligrams on the bottle, that is in the entire bottle. That is not per drop or per serving. So you have to be careful with that because there's a lot of people running around thinking that they're getting doses much higher than they are, and then they don't really think, they don't get great results because they're not taking enough. Second is same thing like with the treats. When it says, for instance, 150 milligrams, that is in the entire bag. So if there's 10 treats in there, they're 15 milligrams a bag. I'm sorry, a treat, whatever they are, you have to divide it by the serving size. Same thing like with these guys right here, these Pinnacle dog treats. It gives you, actually these guys break it down and it tells you there's 2 milligrams per treat, which is not a lot, but it depends on how much you want to give your dog. With the dried fruit, I had a couple people ask how you dose the dried fruit. That's where it gets even more difficult because this dried fruit, and the name of the company is just CBD. And it's available in, like, these are mangoes, it comes in mangoes, it comes in papaya, it comes in pineapple. There are 500 milligram containers and 250 milligram containers, but it's pretty hard to figure out how much it is per dose unless you opened it up and counted every single piece. And if you got a lot of time on your hands to do that, you really don't need to. It's not that much of an exact science where you have to worry about if you're giving them 2 milligrams or 3 milligrams because it's not a drug, it's a natural product. So again, they have mango, papaya, kiwi, even like dried apple, but the most popular ones the dogs seem to like are the pineapples, and we find that these come in very handy when the dogs that don't like the dog treats, they tend to like the dried fruit. And if you're worried about some of the ingredients in the dog treats, different flavors have different ingredients. So we have some that are, if you needed to have if you wanted to have your dog be dairy free, if you're not giving them dairy, they do make dairy free ones that don't have the cheese. They have some that are vegan. Oh. There they are now. Hey. They're protecting us. So other thing too, when it comes to the oil. When it comes to the oil, you have to watch the companies. Like for instance, like people get confused when it says maximum strength. Sometimes people will think that is the strongest CBD you can get. That is the strongest CBD you can get from that particular company. So for instance, you might find that in the same bottle, even though that says maximum strength, it's 600 milligrams. So that's about a milligram to a drop. Whereas you can get another one, same size bottle. This is 1,500 milligrams, which is, more than, it's almost 3 times the amount per drop. So there's that. Also, brands. In terms of brands, people ask me which one I use for myself and the pets. I use Creating Better Days, and the reason is because they use nano CBD that gets absorbed better. So I tend to use that. I have used other brands, and there's some other brands that work, but I find that just for myself and for the dogs, the nano CBD tends to work better. It is more expensive, but I find it to be worth it. And that's they also use the same nano CBD in their pet treats. And another confusing thing you have to watch out for too is when companies make bigger bottles, you have to factor in that, you know, when you divide it out, that there's double the amount of drops in there. So if it says 900 milligrams on the bottle, it says a 2-ounce bottle instead of a 1-ounce bottle like most air. So you usually wind up using twice the amount to get to the same strength as if you got a 900 milligram bottle that was a 1-ounce bottle. Also, people ask me too for uses. If you're giving it to your dog for arthritis, or giving it to your cat for arthritis or pain, or if they're old and they're a little stiff, yes, use it every day. Use it every day as you're going to get best results. The longer you use it, the better it will work. And yes, you can use it more than once a day. Twice a day is usually what works the best, I've found, when you're giving it for the older dogs, or just dogs that may have, you know, dogs that may be stiff, or dogs that may have hip conditions or arthritis. Usually twice a day, it seems to work best. And that would be it. That would be every day. If you're giving it to them for stress and anxiety, like going to the vet, or when there's a thunderstorm, that's a big one. We have one dog that gets very upset when there's thunder. And so we give it to her when we know there's a storm coming. Believe me, she usually lets us know when there's a storm coming. So we use that, we give it to her. I usually give her about half of a dropper full, even though she's only about 10 pounds. And half a dropper full is like for a 25 and higher weight dog, according to the label. I found that the doses that they put on the labels are a little bit light. They don't tend to be enough. So, but you can start off with the doses they recommend, and just don't be afraid to go ramp up if you need to. Also, another thing that works very well for dogs when there's a storm coming, or they're stressed out about going to the vet, Bach flour makes something called Rescue Remedy for Pets. It's called Pet Rescue. And you can mix the two of them together. You can mix the CBD together with the Pet Rescue. I find the same thing. You just open up the mouth and put a few drops in the side of the mouth. Get it open. It's a little dropper. You only have to use a few drops. So literally, like, that is a serving. Just 1, 2, 3 drops is usually enough. And don't put it in the water. Put it right into their mouth, because if you put it into the water, they won't drink it all. So that's really good for storms. And if also, one thing to keep in mind too, Rescue Remedy, being that it's a Bach flour remedy, giving them more at once will not make it work better, but giving it to them more often throughout the day will. So if you need to give it to them every 3 or 4 drops every 15 minutes or so till they calm down, that's fine. There's no toxicity to this either. And like I said before, you can mix it with the CBD oil. And one more thing, we got a message that somebody was asking about with food. The reason I don't put it into their food is because I don't think it digests as well as if when you put it in their mouth. But if you do put it in their food, you have to make sure that they're going to eat their entire food, because some dogs don't eat all their food. They're leaving it set. You want to make sure they get their entire dose, because that is the CBD is expensive and you don't want to waste it. I had somebody, 2 people ask me about that yesterday. I guess it was a little confusing in the video how I said it. You absolutely can take it with food. You can mix it in the food, but you want to make sure that they eat it all, so you don't waste your money. And what else do we have? And as far as different brands go, again, I recommend you don't necessarily have to find one that says for pets on it. Even though Creating Better Days does make one for pets, that's fine. Creating Better Days also makes the human oil and treats and everything else, as well as a whole line of gummies and vapes and other things. They're a full-fledged CBD company. They're fine. But as far as companies like you might find in like a major pet chain store, I would tread lightly with those brands. You want to get into a brand, a company that makes it for other uses as well, not just for pets. Because like I said before, I've seen people come in with these CBDs that are for pets only, and they're paying a good 20 to 30% more because it's just for pets only. So that's about it. That was everything, I believe. Anything with dosing. As far as dosing goes, there is no set dose. There is no just 1 milligram for this dog or 2 milligrams for that dog. You just want to start off with a few milligrams. Maybe start off with 2 or 3 milligrams, work your way up. I usually give much more than that. I mean, I usually give them about 10 milligrams or 15 milligrams to a dose. I find that to be what works for them when I'm giving it to them for stress, especially separation anxiety too. That was another question we got. Was separation anxiety. It's my little killer here. Separation anxiety, especially with this one. When I leave the house in the morning, she tends to drive everybody else crazy until I get home. So for her, I'll give it to her in the morning, usually with the Rescue Remedy for Pets, the Pet Rescue. I just give her half a dropper full of the CBD oil, 3 or 4 drops of the Pet Rescue, and she's really good, you know, pretty much until I make it home. It lasts pretty much all day. Roscoe, he's a little bit older. You know, sometimes he has trouble moving around a little bit. For the most part, he's good, but when I give it to him, when I find he's getting stiff, I give it to him every day, and then when it stops and he seems better, I just stop giving it to him for a little while. Or I stop giving it to him twice a day. I give them a smaller dose every day, like a maintenance dose. I find if you keep it in their system on a regular basis, it does work better for them. So that's it. Again, sorry about the problems with the first 2 videos. Thanks for the feedback. I really appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions at all with this stuff, I know the dosing gets confusing. Don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to come in, because there's a lot of people running around using this stuff. They are not getting as much as they think they are, because it's never been explained to them correctly when they bought it. Also, you can shoot us a message on Facebook, or you can find us over on Instagram at the Vitamin House Online, and shoot us a DM over there as well. And again, the number at the store, we're in Manalapan. It's 732-414-2777. That's about it for this video, and tomorrow we'll be doing another video on the CBD, getting into a little bit more depth CBD about how to figure out the dosing and with different brands. So if you want to check us out, then we'll be on live tomorrow, probably later on in the afternoon or early evening again. Thanks again.